I'm live. Yesterday, folks, you'll see it, and so I messed it up. I was so tired yesterday, folks, out of shopping and looking for things for the garden and being on this prowl for things on the internet, like this timer here, that I was on camera, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep right on camera. I couldn't even believe it. One of the comments was really funny to me. He said he thought I was praying, and I wasn't praying. I actually went to sleep. Oh, man, fell asleep on the morning garden, planting everything. Winter hasn't hit yet. We got 4 more months ahead of us of winter. I got everything planned out. I got everything coming in the mail. Got my little socks here to make my uh, compost in. Well, I just thought about something for a second. I could go out and fill that one of those socks with what they call it. Fill it up with, we call it compost. I could do that, but I'm not going to do that now. I got 4 months, and that way I could let this receptacle, about 40 gallons, open the lid up and allow it to slowly fill throughout the winter with ice and rain and snow, and at least get me halfway there. But I think I will at least do that. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna make a couple of calls to Walmart and see if the seeds came in yet, because that's something that I'm trying to get a handle on. I called the company, Boney's, Boney Seed Company. I can't get anyone on the phone. I know it's still early in the year. That was me about praying. Oh, I had to laugh when you when you wrote that. I had to laugh when you wrote that. I had to laugh because it was funny. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've never done that before like that. Actually, I was out and I was glad that I took it upon myself. I said, I'm out driving. I said, get home because you're not driving that well. You wait at the light already changed. I said, okay, get home, get home, get home. All right, good morning, good morning. Morning, gardener. All right. Graham has definitely wrote something down on that thing there. I looked at it this morning. I said, "Oh my God, somebody saw it," but they didn't make a big deal out of it. They said, "Look, man, it was funny. I thought you were praying." But no, I was, you know. But I will say this: I have all the fertilizer I need, and I got most 90% of my seeds. I just want a couple more things to come, and then I'm all set. Yeah. Mm, man, I gotta get some. I gotta check on some kale seeds that I ordered, um, because from that buyer, I received all the collard green seeds, but no kale seeds. And kale is the most important crop in my garden. I got three of my neighbors into gardening. I'm happy about that because they watched me do it year in and year out, and they saw what I was doing, so they tried it. Or after denying it for many years, and they said, let me try it." And they tried it, and boom. Do, 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 do. And next thing I see, I got everything planned out. Um, yeah, I say the best thing to do is to treat your soil as though your soil is weak and poor, and that way you kind of put the right amount of organic matter in it at the beginning of the I call it the fertilizing season, which is in fall and winter, and you get everything done then at that point, and then when the weather comes into spring and summer, you have your soil already set. But if you go ahead and put that compost down and everything, you're going to be happy New Year. Oh, the same to you. Morning God. It's come from Food Forest Permaculture. It's so rewarding and much healthier. You said it right there. You said it right there. It's much healthier and much better, and it saves money. Let's not forget that, folks. The average budget in U.S. for food each year is up into thousands. I saw one report that said it was around $6,000 a year that you spend in food on your food budget, depending on the size of your family. Best wishes. The same to you. Look, I haven't seen any shows from you lately, and I know you got a life to live. But food forward permaculture got to get some more knowledge out there. Um, I like the last one you had. What was I'll put it this way, it was my favorite. It was one of my favorites because I love it when anybody talks about soil. When anybody talks about soil, I am watching that because some people will have um, they'll have the information and they'll also have their own perspective of what they feel that they do for their soil to make it better. And I watched a video once where a guy was up. Actually, he lives in a part of the world I can't call the name of it right now, where all they do is fish for salmon, and so he would always have guts and heads and backs and all that. The back of fish's spinal part, and he would put that in the ground underneath his plants. And that's the same thing I was saying some months ago. That is the cheapest fertilizer on earth because you can go up to the fish markets and get it free. But I say always try to tip the guy because when you keep running up there to him and talking about, can I get another 5 gallon bucket or two of those fish heads and them guts? He's not going to want to be bothered because he's got other customers. But if you're dropping him a tip, that means that he's getting something out of it. He go get his hands in that stuff out of that big 40 gallon trash can. He dump all of it in your bucket and hand you set it in your cart and roll it out the door. You give him a 5 spot or something like that. He's like, damn, that was worth it. That'll buy me lunch or go towards my lunch over something that wasn't his and also was going to be trashed anyway. And that's how that works. Lots of fish heads. Put it underneath the plant and watch that plant take off. I slept pretty good last night. I got up about maybe 4 o'clock in the morning to come in and do some more research on my garden. And believe it or not, it was fun. Be today, uh, today. Oh, thank you. Fish is awesome. Yes, yes. Fish is awesome. Goes in the ground. You put it in there, drop it in there, run back to the store, get some more. Because I like it like if I worked in a fish stall and we cut all those heads up years ago. I worked there, and we cut all those heads up and backs and everything, and the scales and all that stuff, and we put them all in the trash can, and it just goes to waste. And it's the best, one of the best fertilizers on earth. And you put it in the ground, and you're all set. I think I said that earlier. Oh boy, I tell you. Wow. I have this button up here. Anyone ever try it? It's called insert ad. Gotta definitely look into that. Interesting. Tell me, anybody out there been doing anything towards their garden for this upcoming year? Have you bought any seeds? Have you bought any fertilizers? Have you bought any new gardening tools? Have you went out and looked at the garden? Have you done anything towards your garden? Being even though it's cold in winter. Let's see. Fish often entire life. Let's see. I fish often my entire life. You know, a soul bank. You done very well. You done very well. Food follows permaculture. I've seen some of your fishing videos. I wish only that I have a spot up here near where I live. It's a reservoir, and when I first started fishing there about I want to say God, can't wait a minute. It's been that long ago. When I first bought the house, I started fishing in that location, and I remember you look down off a bridge. It's like I don't know how many stories down it is, but I could rarely catch anything there. And then one day, this foreign person was there. I say foreign because they spoke a different language and didn't seem like they were from the U.S. But he had this large uh, fish, maybe over 30 inches long, lying on the ground. And I remember thinking, because they got about it with a huge dip net, and he looked like a pike, but I want to say he was maybe a chain pickerel, but he looked like a pike. And so, I'm looking at him. I said, "What are you gonna do with him?" I don't know what he was saying, but in other words, he kept the fish. I caught one under that size in the dead of winter. I just want to say, when I go to that location, it's very difficult to catch crappie. So one day I'm watching one of the fishing films that is here on YouTube, and the guy, I typed in how to catch crappie in winter, and there was a gentleman on there said, "Well, he said, well, I don't want to waste a lot of time." He said, "I will use live bait, something like bullhead minnows and things of that nature. What they call shiners." He said, "I will use those because I want to catch something and get home." He was implying or saying exactly what he was saying is that when you use the artificial lures, they're good, but when you want to really bring the fish home, you want to actually attach a minnow to that lure and let him suck that down, and you got a chance of getting a number of those fish and also probably some pretty sizable fish. Um, but crappie for me, I'll go out there and stand on the water for 2 3 hours, and I might take two crappie, and that's frustrating. And I kept trying to say, what am I doing wrong? Because there's a guy stood right next to me, 6, 7 feet from me, and walked up and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And he swung under the bridge. I could never get that swinging under the bridge down pat. And he swung under the bridge, nailed one in less than 5 minutes, and then caught another one and another one and another one. And so I looked at the lure he was using, and I looked at how far they were up from the sinker. I'll do that. I'll catch what you're doing real quick. And I said, well, I don't have a lure that small he has. He has a very small lure. How deep is he fishing? And I don't know any of that stuff. So, let's see. Oh, okay, okay, pretty good. wait a minute now, I'm lost. You're talking about cutting little slices out of them and using the crappie? Now I'm gonna tell you something else I used to do. Good morning, New York. I mean, excuse me. Good morning, good morning. Busy bee, gardener. All right, and homestead. Here's what I got going on, folks. I love fishing, like catching more. Fishing not so much, but I like catching. And I used to catch many fish when I used to go fish saltwater. You go out there, but I'll catch what I don't want. Like one time I got into a catfish hole, and they were all like this. Can you see that? And some were bigger than that. And so, and every cast, I would cast out, set the rod down, and automatically there would be a fish on it. Oh, thanks for the thumbs up. Thank you. Um, and what happened was I would catch catfish. I don't, I'm looking at all of the beautiful size. I'm looking at the steaks that will come out of these fish, but I don't want them because I'm saying no, let them go. Don't just kill them, let them go. And I'm out there one day. I caught an 8 pounder that was out there, a catfish. To me, that was a big catfish. It was windy. It was storming. It was black skies, and I was the only guy out there. And I said, "This is not the best idea I had." Which is driving all the way out here. The wind is shaking the car when you're going down the street. Um, the skies are black. There's rain, and then there's no rain. And then there's a lightning out in the distance, and there's no lightning. So I said, wait a minute, something was wrong here. So, bam, a line gets hit. And I start fighting with it, and I get it in. And I got really light gear I'm working with this catfish with. And I finally got him in. I pulled him up, and the water's all dark colored. And you got to be careful because this water, you can actually reach in the mouth of a chain pickerel or northern pike or something. And so I got the catfish out, looked at the catfish, weighed him with my scale. Said 8 pounds. Wow. And I said, where is my camera? Where is my? Because back then I didn't have a cell phone that had a camera in it. They didn't have cameras in the cell phones back then. They used them for a strange reason, only to make calls with. Could you imagine that? Let's see. Add extra hook to near the back of the fan. Uh-huh. Okay, I like that. I like that. But now, what I used to do in food forward permaculture, I used to cut them into strips, you know, about that wide across, and hang them on the hook and drop it down, and never ever caught anything with that, and because someone out there was telling me, hey, crappie eat crappie. Yeah, they really like crappie. So I said, okay, I'll try it, and never did anything. Um, then it was an older man out there. He was I always called him a legend because he could come out there and it's like the crappie knew him. Hey, that's Frank up there. And Frank would just go there and he would pull out these lures there was hair lures that you look like you would catch trout with, and he would start catching crappie. And at the end of his trip, he would give them to me. Of course, I felt a little, because I said I came fishing, and another fisherman had to give me my fish. What am I doing wrong? He told me, he said, you got to find out what depth they're sitting at, and once you find out the depth, they're usually going to be schooled up. And I said, okay, all right. Oh wait a minute, let's see what we got here. Let's see. I will. See. Oh, okay, okay. Live bait. Now, one thing I will do that always works when I'm at this spot, if I catch a little crappie like this, a little crappie, and I hang him from on the side behind his head, and I drop him down to about 12 feet. I always use 12 feet as a barometer for some reason. I do 12 feet. Then I loosen the drag all the way up on the reel, so he can't feel it. When he bite it, he can't feel nothing holding it. And all of a sudden, and I said, he's got it. And so I will tighten it down and set. When I set it, he takes off. Of course, I'm using 30-pound test, so he can't really go nowhere. Yes, work when this bird holds has no problem. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, okay. Thank you for that information of food father permaculture. Wow. And where I go fishing at, when it hits around 12, well, that's of course that's in spring and summer. When the sun really starts coming out, the guys that were out there all night, well, not all night, but they were out there for a long period of time, they begin to start leaving because they know that the fish are now getting ready to roll, leave, and so they definitely leave. You know, when the fish stop biting, and so I'm like, wow. I said, has the fish stopped biting? He said, yeah, they'll bite real good until up to about 12 o'clock. One guy told me. So I'm like, well, but the fish got watches? Do they watch the time? They got a show to watch? No, it's not that. It's just that when the light comes up, fish start doing things different. Some come up, some goes down deep where they can't be found. And bigger fish, think of strategically, bigger fish have to uh, hunt at a time when they can't be seen because, you know, they can be seen. And so if I was a really big fish, I would kind of want to lurk around at night or low light because that's when I know I can roll up on something. Yeah, that's what I would want to do. I'm having a good time here. I'm sitting here. I'm not falling asleep. I got 6 people in the room. You got 3 that gave me some thumbs up. I appreciate that. And the thing about it is, I like when I have plenty of fish in my deep freeze that I caught, and I have plenty of stuff out there in the garden, like fruit and vegetables, and that really makes me happy because um, that just makes me happy. I like putting the bags in the refrigerator and labeling everything. The bait is on record. The time of day and temperature for next debate is on record and time. Okay. Yeah, okay, that's pretty good. I'm thinking that if I had a place to go where I could get information that would say fish in this location, best time to fish it for crappie, or the best time to fish it for catfish, or the best time to, I would feel better. And if it say best baits to use are, and then I'll be like, okay, great. Now I know what I'm doing when I go there. But what happened, it was an old man came up to me and he said, back in the day, you know how older people are, in 70s or whatever. And he said, he said, back in 1975, we used to come down here and he said there'd be so many fish. He said that you couldn't see the water, just schools of fish going by. He said, but what happened is people fished there day and night and day, and he said it they pretty much caught all of them you know, which this is a huge body of water, folks. It's huge. It's the second largest reservoir, I believe, in Maryland. Because the biggest one is Liberty. And the biggest rockfish ever caught here in Maryland was caught at Liberty. And it wasn't really that big. It was something like 73 pounds, I think it was. And someone actually took it out of the water. Only thing I say a fish like that is good for, let's see. Now look at what Food Falls permaculture. Now he don't even live in Maryland. He sent me this. That's pretty good. I didn't know about this place. Thank you. Rod and Gun Club in Baltimore. They will give you all of the intel needed when you want to go hunting and or fishing. Oh, beautiful. Let me go look at that up right now. See that? Food for, it's just some of those people, they're brilliant, and you know they're brilliant, and that's just the way they are. Like when it comes to gardening, he'll get all into the genetics of of a plant, and I'll be like, what? Because only thing I study on is basically the plant's behavior when you feed it, what it looks like when it's starving, what it looks like when it's not just starving, but when the plant is healthy and happy. But food forest permaculture will go into the genetics of why this plant needs food, why this particular plant needs more water, why is it nature made it that way. Yeah, yeah, that's a good deal though. Okay, I got it here. I'm gonna save it to my favorites. Let's see. I'm gonna save it to. I'm gonna call it game and fishing. So that way I can find it. Done. Thank you very much, Food Forest Permaculture. And it says, welcome to the new BCGF website, Baltimore County Game and Fishing Protection Association. Wait a minute, that's not it. Wait a minute, hold on. You told me something different. Baltimore County Game and Fishing Protection Club. What is this? Let's see, education and training. Let's see, Maryland Hunting and Safety, N&A certified courses, women on target, what it is, I don't know. Events calendar, okay, okay, that's something different. Let me go back and see what I got. I love fishing and I love the garden. You put those two together and a grill, we got something working. Happy New Year to everyone, really. I mean, just, I just, I just got finished watching the news, and when you watch that, you don't really want to watch that, really. But they're on there talking about the deadline, the deadline. That's what they're talking about. Some of you heard about it. Let's see. Okay, we must see. And I just think to myself, I had a good time when I used to go out there and go fishing. I used to have a really good time. And my license is still up to date right now. I could go right now if I want to. The weather is perfect for it. It's about 40 degrees, which means you're not going to freeze to death out there. It's going to be okay. You drop it down there and you start catching fish, crappie. And I believe there will be no one out there because ever since the fishing at this location slowed up, people just kind of stopped going. People kind of stopped going there. And I know because the last three times I went there, there was no one hardly, there was no one there in most cases. But it was one scary moment that sometimes I'll share when I was there a little while back. we got off the bridge and I went down along the bank and I'm sitting there and I cast out, beautiful day, and I'm sitting there and I'm looking out at the water and I turned my head to the left and standing a foot or two away from me was a deer. And he scared the absolute hell out of me. I couldn't believe what I didn't know what it was at first. And the only thing I got them flashbacks from all those animals attack videos. So I got up and ran. And then I just said, wait, stop, man up. Now go see what that was there. And I looked, I said, there's a deer. And he was about maybe, I don't want to say 150 pounds. I don't want to say that, but he might have been somewhere around that area. And he had the antlers on his head. So, you know. Let's see. Thank you for the culture. Same to you, sir. Best wishes for all of this. 2020, everyone. Yes, thank you. And don't forget, everyone, sometime today, Food for Permaculture will be having a video coming out. So we can keep our eyes out open for that. But if you subscribe to the channel, you'll see it anyway. It'll pop up on your. Sometimes I tell people, hey, put me in your subscription. That way, anytime you see my warning come up, you say, oh, that's a morning gardener online. He's online now. And we've had some great shows in the last few days. I mean, because when I look at them and people chiming in, but you got some shows out there that are really big. I look at those and I go, okay, why is this show big? Well, some people, they basically support their people. They're going to support their people. They're going to say, no, I'm going to support my people. These are friends of mine. You thought I was talking about something else. Let's see. Okay, yeah, because there used to be a store, and that was many years ago, so probably the people are probably long gone and stores closed. It was a bait shop, and you could call a bait shop and get the fishing report. And you can't get that now because Maryland is all online, and the store's probably bare, it might be gone. But I remember that store. You called, they said, and today's is Bill fishing report. It said Monday, a couple of fishermen came in, and they were saying that they were catching some 12-inch crappie. They was using jigs, and also they was using shiners and some bullhead minnows. The fish up in the Patapsco River, it would just go on and on with all of this information, and they were updated. It wasn't every day they updated. It was like once a week or every 2 weeks. We need something like that for gardening. We need something like that for gardening too. Because what I've done here is I compile all the information I can get my hands on that relate to growing in Maryland, because that's where I live at. And so every vegetable that grows well here, I have a list of it. And so I pick out the items that I want, and I look at certain other things about it. TV is out. I like that. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I think that when you garden, it's a special thing because it really and truly puts you in touch with nature, and I mean in touch with the earth. And without going my yard and I pull back the grass, not dig, but the grass, and I see worms laying on top of the surface, and I'm thinking, why is it that my manure fork, I used to think this, I'll put it that way. Why is it my manure fork runs the earthworms out of the ground and up into the grasses? Well, folks, I discovered that they think that there's a mole digging for them or something is digging for them. And that's why they take off and they head towards the surface. And so that helped me out immensely. When I learned that, I started saying, wait a minute, let me try something. I'll get a piece of stick or something, plunge it in the ground, and tap on the handle of the manure fork. And that runs them to the surface. And so um, they think there's something hunting them. So worms can move pretty fast when they have to. Now, the majority of the worms that on my property, one side of the yard near where I have most of my clay soil, um, uh, and I see mostly night crawlers there. Big night crawlers, folks. Big night crawlers. And then they got this other real fast, whippy kind of worm, the name of it escapes me at the moment. And he's all throughout the main garden. And I can't dig anymore on my property without digging up worms. Back in the day, I could do it. It would be 3 or 4 shovelfuls of dirt, soil, before I even knew that they were worms in the soil. Because there weren't any worms in the soil, really. So when I started adding the wood chips, adding the chop and drop, then the worms, they came to where the food supply was. Now, when you add these worms, you add the wood chips and you add the chop and drop, you have to continue this. You can't just stop, because if you stop, when the food supply gone, they go. They go. So you know how that is. It's like having a neighbor over. You keep having food at the table and those big sweet donuts, the kind with the cream filling in it, and they're gonna keep coming by. But if you don't get those anymore, the neighbor's gonna come by even less. I digress. Keep feeding your soil. It's the best way to go. Um, Compost tea is absolutely invaluable. Now, this year, I will only, for the most part, you will see me watering with compost tea. Now, I didn't do that last year. What I did last year was I used um, I used primarily rainwater. But I said, kill what? 2 birds with 1 stone, which you shouldn't really kill birds with stones. But, my point is that you really want to, really don't kill birds with stones. But you really want to, you really want to take all of your energy and make some compost tea. That's what you want to do. And these bags will help you. I'm not saying buy them. I'm not selling them or anything like that. Not a bad idea. If I did sell these, I could make a little money. And of course, they're real light to ship. But compost. I'm going to do 2 bags of compost. Drop them in a 40-gallon container of rainwater. Once I drop them in there, I'm going to fill it with rainwater and bounce these bags up and down as though they were large, large tea bags. And when that takes place, I will dip in the big container my large watering can. Because the problem I had last year was that a 32-gallon, I couldn't get the can down in there. Now with this big 42-gallon container, I just drop down, fill it up, pick it up, go and water everything with compost. Compost will protect you from insects. It will feed. It will water the plant all in one take. And that makes me a smarter gardener because I'm using one motion to complete 3 tasks. Can you dig it? Oh, yeah. I can dig it. Well, I got some bad news for you. You know why they call me the morning gardener? I will probably start mine in the dead of winter. Because while I was sitting here talking to you, my mind is elsewhere. I'm thinking, go out there right now, open up. Oh, look at the sun coming up. It's in the dead of winter. It's like a spring day, folks. Um, I want to go out there and clean that receptacle out. Now, it's nothing in it but a bucket sitting in there with some of my garden tools. And all I got to do is pick them up, and that's clean. That's what I call cleaning out. So I want to open the lid up and allow it to rain and snow in there all year until it comes into the spring. Then that way, when I refill it from my rain barrel, I won't have to put as much water in there. Because they remember now, my rain barrel, I only have 100 gallons. That's all I have. So I don't know when the next time it's going to rain if I empty those drums out. So I want to make, wait a minute, it really wouldn't matter because I'm watering with it anyway. Well, I digress. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Compost tea is the best. Compost tea is the best. When you see those giant watermelons, those giant pumpkins, that's what they're using a lot of times is those compost teas. Um, and then they got the other ones that's using fancy drugs that you couldn't eat that pumpkin if you wanted to because it's poison. Once they use, because all they want to do is grow it to be seen. That's it. That's all they want. They don't want to eat the thing. But imagine if you wanted to eat something like squash or string beans or okra or tomatoes or peppers and use compost tea. Yeah, you can eat that stuff. And if you want your tomatoes to have more flavor, uh, you're going to pick a Monday. So you would stop watering them probably Thursday or Friday. You would stop watering the tomatoes, depending on the temperature outside, because you don't want the plants to die. But you want to stop watering them so they can concentrate their oh, peace out, Food Farmers Permaculture. There you go. He's getting ready for that video later. That's what I think he's going to do. But I just want to let you know, compost, folks, it's free if you know what you're doing. It's free. Don't go buy. One time I was in a store, they had something called a compost starter. It's in a bag. I kid you not. It was in a bag. Yeah, it was in a bag. And it said compost starter. And I said to myself, I think I'm going to get this. And to be quite frankly honest with you, you know what a starter is? Some of us out there already know. Some of us start compost piles with, they use a little bit of their own older compost. They use compost, they use a little bit of soil. Just throw a little bit of soil in between the layers. That'll start it. Some people use urine. That'll start it. Nitrogen fertilizers, They start the compost with what's free. They don't go out and buy stuff. The old farmers will tell you that. The ones who've been farming before they had the big box stores, they'll tell you you don't need a bag or something to start a compost pile. All you need to do is add that biology to it, and that comes from your soil, and that comes from also your older compost you might have a hill there that you want to put some of it up there on top or in between the layers and get it started. And then once you get it started, she'll start rock and roll if you have it the right dimension and height and everything. It'll start decaying, and you're all set. All right, good people. This has been the Morning Garden Show. I'm gonna go outside right now and get everything started for my compost tea because I want to be ahead of the game. That's why they call me the Morning Gardener. And remember to keep on growing, folks, and hang in there. And remember, Happy New Year. All right now.